Culture Casino. 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 Oh. Culture Casino. Culture Casino. Culture Casino. Oh. Culture Casino. Culture Casino. Culture Casino. Culture Casino. Culture Casino.
Culture Casino.
Culture Casino. Culture Casino. Culture Casino. Culture Casino.
Coffee.
Culture Casino. Culture Casino. Culture Casino.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Saturday, and it is a lovely, lovely Saturday. We've got February 22nd coming up on the end of the month. Only 6 days of the month left. My goodness, we've been cooking through it, and after 30 days of a new president, there certainly are a lot of people cooking. They got things to talk about. They got problems. They got issues. We'll give them some tissues on this show. We got lots of things here. We have a little bit of politics, a little bit of entertainment, and a little bit of why. Why? That's kind of the normal Saturday show. We have lots of things to get to, and we are ready to go. We've got those of you out there in the chat saying hello, and it's great to see you all. Audience will only build from here. We've got our good friend Mephisto here. Says first, I guess. Well, you were. We got Terry Rose out there, of course, and Snortopupus Cuber as well. Looks like a few other folks have rolled in, like Darth Gutierrez. Good to see you, my friend. And a few other folks on top of that. Let's see. Low Spec Linux Gaming is here. Hello, hello. And Brian Mack. Hail to you, Brian Mack. Low Spec Linux Gaming, also known as Jeff. What's up, Jeff? And of course, follow the Bradley's Fun is out there. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Ron Apollomes is here on a 36-hour downtime. Great to see you, dear, along with Andrew, 46 and 2. Tom F is out there. I love it. Of course, RC. I hope you're doing well, dear, on this lovely Saturday morning or midday for many of you, or for those of you across the pond, evening or afternoon, I guess, technically. Good to see you all. Lee Kindler is out there, of course. Great to see you, Lee. We've got me. Wait, me? Yeah, no, I'm just telling you where to go to check out the video I dropped last night, which might have been after some people were asleep. So you do want to check that out. It's a great video. Talk a little about the Diddley man. That's right. Magnify is in the house. What's going on, Tom? And there's Cynthia. Good morning, dear. Good Saturday morning, kids, or day, or whatever your local time is. That's right. We've got several folks coming in. Sons of Liberty Media is here. Great to see you. Welcome, Sons of Liberty. And Solo de Gloria is over on the Green Machine. Our friend, Mr. Fizzy, is here. And Mr. Fizzy has something for all of you in just a moment. Sam. Good morning, Sam. A hearty handshake. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Solid handshakes all round. Linda F., good morning to you. How do you do? Coffee is good. I have giant coffee. Tom says, culture. It's Linda's birthday. Really? I tell you what, before we get started, and with no background music and with unwarmed up pipes, I will endeavor Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Linda. Happy birthday to you. And many more. And happy birthday, Linda. We got lots of wonderful beings in the house. It's great to see you all. Uncle Remus is here. I got looped into a message with Uncle Remus. I've got the lovely Jill out there wielding the wrench. Look out, everybody. William King says, what's up? What's up, indeed? It's Community Saturday, which means that a little bit after the show, after I do a couple of chores, we'll fire up another show for just the members. We're going to do a member stream, folks, and I'll post that up in the community chat in just a little bit. But yeah, I got a couple of chores to take care of before we do that. So hopefully those of you that are members get a chance to do that. Speaking of members, the amazing Mr. Fizzy gives 5 Culture Casino memberships. Thank you, Mr. Fizzy. That is amazing. It is glorious. It's a great way to start the day. Also, a great way to start the day is with Juliet. Good morning from across the pond, or good afternoon in your case. And thank you for calling me young Gandalf, dear. I appreciate that. Snakes and Funerals is out there. Much appreciated. We got a few other folks bopping in, like Radio Drago. Hi, guys. Working a Saturday today. All right. Well, at least hopefully maybe you can hear this now or later. Rob McCord. Hail, my friend. Good to see you. Release the McCracken. What's going on, Robbie? Keep it up, brother. And we got a few other folks driving through as well. And then we got to get going. Like, hey, Chef Eddie, it's been a minute. Hope you're doing well. Chef Eddie, what's up? Let's see. Mutant Bam Hammer. Oyos, all my boyos. Indeed. And holy cow, it's Pop Culture Minefield. It's Geary. What's up, Geary? Everybody say hi to Geary. Gary's awesome. Good dude. Commander Red Strike Shadow. Happy Saturday to you. And let's see. Thought I saw Daniel Anderson, the DA, but I imagined him. I don't know. Cynthia Carter says, oh, I saw the Diddler one. I couldn't think of anything to say that wouldn't get my comment vanished. So didn't say anything. No, it's great. I appreciate you guys watching that one. Those are always tough because I have to circumnavigate what is definitely a no-no on the tube, but I could say freely over on the Rumble. And yeah, I've got a thought about doing a Rumble only stream, if not today, tomorrow. So yeah, but do check out Pop Culture Minefield. And of course, Mephisto will be on after Salty Nerd Podcast today. So if you're not a member or you just don't want to hang out with us, I don't know why, you could definitely check out Mephisto and Salty Nerd Podcast. Dengar Renegade is in the house. Good to see you, my friend. And on that note, Jan Monroe's here. Yard sale today. Ooh, fun. Well, hopefully you can listen to me. Share the stream, share the dream. Let people know what you're listening to. I don't know. I'm just promoting. Let's get to the first story, folks, because it is a doozy. And can't be choosy when it comes to the stories on a Saturday. This one was bonker sauce, though. So I don't know. I didn't get a chance to clip it. Maybe many of you have seen the associated clip. But I find it funny that Stephen King not only reactivated his Twitter, he opened his mouth to side with the Maryland governor who's about to get her, teeth kicked in court. Not literally YouTube, but in court. There's a good chance she's going to lose. Yeah, all because she wants to make sure that people who decide there's something else can't compete against other people when they have a decided advantage over said people. That's right. Stephen King praises Maine Governor Janet Mills stand up to the bully. Oh yeah, Trump's a bully. You guys not realize the 4 years of heck that in Hades that the President Trump went through, the lawfare that he got beaten to pieces by you people. That's a bully. You're a bully. You just don't like it when people take away your toys for being a bully. That's all that's happening right now. Yeah, so standing up for some kind of rights that are something. Anyway, so as Stephen King makes his return to X, Trump 2.0. He's wasting no time and giving his opinion in the president's first 100 days, and he looks like an idiot. But that's just my opinion. We cook through this and say, following his post calling Donald Trump a traitorous, Putin-loving dip, that's solid. That is solid, solid conversational gab there by the writer. Yeah, that's a lot of cocaine. The legendary horror author thanked his native Maine governor, Janet Mills, after she told the president, "We'll see you in court over withheld federal funding." Well, the funding's going to get withheld. By the time it gets to court, it might be a little uncomfortable there in Maine. And people are going to basically say, I don't agree with this anyway, you crazy lady. But just my opinion. He said, makes me proud to be a Maine man. Thank you, Governor, for standing up to the bully. All right, then. Speaking of all right, then, we did get, obviously, Mr. Fizzy's 5 Culture Casino memberships, but we also added a wonderful member chat here that I want to get to from Mark. What's up, Mark Medina? What's going on? Says, with his celebration, thanks to all gifters. Weepa. It's been fun. Boob. There you go. Thank you, Mark. Much appreciated. And let's see. We got our good friend Radio Drago, who just became a member at the Gold Club member. Thank you, Radio Drago. Very much appreciated, even when you're working. We got Channel Surf saying Maine. Yeah, Maine. Yeah. Are we getting sound issues? What are the sound problems, guys? Robot voiding. Let me double check on the audio sleeve. Audio. Oh, I figured it out, guys. It went to the wrong place, I think. Shouldn't be. Let me double check. Let me see. I don't want you guys to be having bad audio. Audio is important. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Do, 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 do. That doesn't look like it. That's the Steam Deck. That's not it. Huh. I wonder what's going on there. I don't know that I can fix it in flight, folks. It is not showing up on the screen. That's not good. Not a good sign. I don't know what's happening right now. So we're going to have to explore it later. They said you're good. Oh, okay. I'm good now. Okay. Well, fair enough. Thank you for that. All right. My audio is cutting in and out. Hopefully not anymore. So, all right. Butterbiscuit sends a Culture Casino gifty in the form of $1 over on the green machine that says, my job might be in trouble. Oh no, Butterbiscuit. Trump might be trying to get rid of it with possible executive order in the near future. We were told this morning. Gotta love it. Oh, I hope that's not true, Butterbiscuit. But I can't I don't know why they would decide to switch everything up. They already have a bunch of employees in place and everything else. So, privatizing it doesn't necessarily mean your job would go away. I wouldn't think. Why would you rehire an entirely new workforce operating the same systems primarily? That doesn't make sense. But for your sake, I really hope that you are not affected by any kind of a job change, because I know it's a pretty good gig that you have. A little bit jealous. A little bit jealous. And we might get to that story, actually, Butterbiscuit, but thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it. Just want to say thank you to everybody out there for all of your support. It's very important. All right, let's continue on with this. So the Democratic governor met with Trump and other governors on Friday at the White House after his executive order to bar certain people that decided to change things that were athletes from competing in women's and girls' sports, according to the AP. Well, I met with them for a number of reasons. That was one of them, talking about the jobs that are going to be incoming because of the tariffs and repatriating companies back to the U.S. to manufacture here, which is already happening, by the way, which also includes foreign automakers who are moving their manufacturing back to the States. So I think a lot of people have a tendency to overreact. And I'm certainly not insinuating that with anybody here in my audience. I'm just saying when it comes to the news media and the politicians, the people that want to try to curry favor with individual groups are going to react to things in a given way. And I think that's some of the things that happened here. To be fair, why would you want to have cross um, sex competition? I mean, understands things like co-ed softball and stuff like that, purely the fun of it all, not necessarily the the competitiveness. But when you take a look at competitive sports, whether you be a young person or somebody as high up as professionals, why would you want to put yourself in a place where I would say you don't belong? It's a good question. I'm curious what the answer to that's going to be. But you know, what I miss about the story that we didn't get to because I scooped out of it was the fact that King promised he was leaving Twitter in November, but he came back, so he's a liar. Can't trust anybody like that, right? Got a lovely super chat from our good friend Mark Fields for $2 in Culture Cash. Thank you, my friend. Saying beautiful day to you all. Positive vibes. Positive vibes indeed, my friend. Of course, everybody, everybody's up in a uproar about anything that the president says. It's pretty wild. We've got a number of people just overreacting like crazy. And let's see. Seemed like connection issues. I hope those are good. I'm going to keep pushing the mic forward of me. Hopefully that'll help. The very lovely Jillian N is out in the audience. Thank you, Jillian N. It's great to see you this morning. She says, greetings, Culture Casino, and all the amazing fellow Culturians. Thank you. I hope you have a shimmering Saturday as well. In fact, Jillian was so excited to say that she sent a number of gifties. That's right, 5 Culture Casino gifties. And you know what? I missed a set of gifties I didn't get a chance to shout out from the amazing, the ever lovely Ruby Hoove sending a gifty, which I truly appreciate. Look at all these numbers of humans. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Love seeing all the names go green. Of course, over on the green machine, Rumble, they turn red. They do, and they do a great job of it, turning red. Caveat Ties just said howdy, nerds, over there. And there's the lovely 6. Good morning, dear. Hope you're doing well. Fallen Angel. Overreacting is putting it mildly. Hear about the former NFL punter? No, did not. Did not, did not. John Gibson's out there saying good morning, all. And of course, we've got Dean Krantz in the audience. Ooh, hello. Mark says nobody understands how heavy the crown is. Hard choices need to be made with the hope it saves the whole. That's very true. And that actually is true of any position of authority, whether it be in a corporation or a country. Can't argue with that. Oh, we're in the weird place, folks. A very weird place, but a good place because otherwise none of this would have been addressed. And we absolutely need it here in this country and around the globe. The last bastion of liberty as we watch the free speech disappear from countries around the world and the draconian methodology of the authoritarian taking place in some of our most friendly of neighbors that maybe not so much anymore, like the UK. And again, it's not the people, it's the government. It's Keir Starmer and his ilk The true authoritarians, the people that seize power and then make it impossible for anyone to earn it back, win it back, or in the many cases, fight for it back. It's going to be a problem. We need to avoid the turning. That's for darn sure. And as 6 says, weird, true story. True story. All right. Let's get into the next story. Speaking of stories, we've got quite a bit to get to. And it looks like we have one more member chat I need to grab from our good friend, Snowdub, who's doing great. Celebrating 7 months here. He says, can't wait for the next Sunday night show next year. Actually, we need to have a conversation about that because, there's going to be some changes, let's say. A lot of it just comes down to the fact that doing a show 7 nights a week is not necessary, or 7 days a week, I should say, is not terribly easy. And I had some inconsistencies in my guests, but regardless, that'll be something we talk about here soon on the channel. Speaking of which, let's get to it though. We've got more to talk about. Let's jump into the next one. This should actually be interesting because it also has to do with the Trump effect. In fact, there's a lot of Trump effect out there right now, and it seems to be affecting a lot of people very differently. You see, the AP is suing Trump's administration. Well, some of the officials of the administration over being banned because they won't tell the truth. That seems like you want news organizations to tell the truth. And mind you, AP had no trouble changing immediately to the way Kyiv was being referred to in Ukraine. And there have been a number of things over the years they've never rebelled against. It's just this one. And it's obvious why it's being done, because it's the outlier. And the outlier is because Trump said this is that, and they don't like it. Well, Google's fine with it. Apple's fine with it. Mexico's going to try to sue Google. I laugh. Look, I mean, they just don't have the kind of power that they think they do. Regardless, the government of the U.S. changed everything. You have other countries recognizing it as Gulf of America, just not the ones that are whining about it, like Mexico and a few others. So if we can change the name of a thing because the country wants to change it, it doesn't seem like it's a big deal unless it's the Gulf. So the AP is going to sue Trump White House officials over the Gulf of America and the fact that it's making its news organization unwelcome in the room. It seems like, if you want to report things, you should probably do it accurately. And if a government thinks you're not reporting it accurately, what do? They ask you to leave. So anyway, the AP sued 3 Trump administration officials Friday over the White House ban on the news organization's access to presidential events. Well, I mean, I think we have plenty of news reps, don't we? I'm just curious. Have you ever missed a news organization in an event and not found out the news? Of course not. AP's not even a news organization anymore. They're a propaganda organization. You can tell by the way that they craft their headlines, their stories, and everything is narrative driven. That's not news. Narrative driven is not news. News is facts and information. AP doesn't do that. In fact, we've got a story coming up later. We'll talk about that. But regardless, the White House has blocked AP reporters and photographers over its refusal to refer to the Gulf of Mexico. See, there they did it again as the Gulf of America, which is what President Trump last month ordered the body of water to henceforth be called. Of course. So in the United States, you're going to have to comply. You want to say it elsewhere, go ahead. The problem is your audience is in the United States, because otherwise nobody has any need for the Associated Press because they are compromised by the Gates Foundation, in case you didn't know, which we've covered here a few times before. But the AP is citing the First Amendment. Okay, You can cite the First Amendment. Asked a federal judge to stop the White House from blocking its journalists. I don't think a judge can do anything about it. You can have whoever you want in the room. You can certainly have freedom of the press. Do what you want to do. Doesn't mean you get access to every single room. Sorry. There's plenty of press out there. Believe me, right now, even though they're on a kick to help streamers and alternate news media to get into the room, I don't think I'd be able to get any credentials that would get me into the room. At least not right now. Maybe with your help, when we get over 100K, I could, but not right now. Anyway, so the AP's lawsuit names White House Chief of Staff Susan Wiles. Good luck with that. Deputy Chief of Staff Taylor Bodowich and Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt as defendants. All you have to do is not call on them. See, this is the other thing, too. You can be in this room if you want. I'm not going to say anything to you or ever take a question from you. Press away. The White House has ordered the Associated Press to use certain words in its coverage or else face indefinite denial of access. Well, you just have to acknowledge the truth. That's it. This editor is a little bit too high placed at this point. The news org says in the complaint, like you said, you can call it Gulf of Mexico all you want, AP. They're just, with speech, apparently, comes consequences. Wasn't that a lesson I was being told, going back to all the censorship I had to undergo, whether it be on X or even the platforms that I'm on now? Right? Anyway, the press and all the people in the United States have the right to choose their own words. I agree with you. No problem. And the White House has the right to make sure you're not saying it inside their rooms. Sorry. Press the way you want. The Constitution does not allow the government to control speech. They're not. They're just telling you, we are calling this the Gulf of America. There you go. Allowing such government control and retaliation to stand as a threat to every American's freedom. Nobody's saying you can't say those words. Nobody's saying you can't print those words. You're just not going to do it inside this room. That's it. Stephen Chung, the White House communications director, blasted the wire service in a written response. The AP's frivolous and demented lawsuit, which I agree with, is nothing more than a blatant PR stunt masquerading as a First Amendment case. They are clearly suffering from a severe, debilitating case of Trump derangement syndrome that has rotted their peanut-sized brains. Ooh, see? There's free speech right there. And you chose to print it because that's what he said. And we have the Gulf of America now. We will defeat them in court. Yeah, just like we crushed their leftist reporters at the ballot box. Wow. Okay, that's a big swing by Chung. I'm not sure I would have said that, but hey, might have been a little steamed. The AP seeks a court ruling ordering the Trump officials to immediately rescind their denial. A judge can't do that. They can let anybody in or keep anybody out that they want. Report the news. When such spaces are made open to the White House press pool members, you don't get to be a press pool member. This is the thing they're not getting, right? They're trying to say that the White House's ban violates the First and Fifth Amendments, as well as the monetary award covering AP's legal costs. You're not going to get any of those things. So on the 14th, though, the White House said it would indefinitely bar the news organization from access to the Oval Office and Air Force One over the issue. Because guess what? It's a privilege. The Oval Office is a privilege. It's by invitation only. It's not even in the press room. The Associated Press continues to ignore the lawful geographic name change of Gulf of America. So that's it. I don't care what an AP in style guide decision announced last month is. They were going to continue to call it the Gulf of Mexico. This is not a winner. This is not a winner. And I'm going to make sure that I find something different to report from than the AP. Unfortunately, I didn't do that today, but uh, this is free speech too. I don't like the way the AP does business. I think they're compromised. What about you guys? Butter Biscuit comes through with $1 super duper from the Green Machine, a Rumble rant. I believe they prefer me to say, saying they said the Board of Governors would get fired first and all uh, profitable parts of the Postal Service would be auctioned off. Wow. The only things left would be rural. So it leads to the death of the PO. I really hope that's not true. But at the same time, I haven't heard the president say that or anybody that's associated with him. Perhaps I will look deeper into it, Butter Biscuit, but I just haven't seen it. I appreciate the postal service. It's very important. I like getting my mail. So that's crazy. But thank you for the update, my friend. Um, let's see. Todd, what's up? I think Alex would go for that. Alex would go for what? I'm so lost. All right. I came into the middle of somebody's conversation. Um, 6, I only have to read their headlines to see that they're narrative driven. Their slant on stories. I mean, I've got a story that specifically is how their slant looks at things. Instead of talking about the DEI situation with the airplane that decided to find its way onto the roof to land and slide down the runway, um, and some of the concerns around that, they decided to talk about lap children and flights. I mean, I'm not going to say their take is wrong, but there's that. Thomas Boldman says, "Funny how compelled speech is just fine when they are the ones calling the tune." That seems interesting, and it's not compelled speech. They don't have to say it. Don't I sound familiar? You know, pretty wild, in my opinion. Istophobos. Biden froze out a Fox reporter for 18 months for asking about his mental condition. Hmm. Where was the AP on that one? I wonder. I'm going to have to see if they wrote a story about it. Should be easy to find, right? They wrote a story. Pinochet's helicopter tours for 5 Culture Casino cash. The AP lost all credibility, period. I agree with you. They received millions through USAID. Also a problem. That means they're, you know, malleable. There is no way to untangle funds over a penny of influence. No standing. Well, yeah. I think we're going to have to start seeing a whole lot more of stark black and white on stuff. And I think it's coming. I think that's the era that we're in. Could be wrong. I don't think so. Mark Medea says, "I've asked a few times, but I was gray. I hope you see it now." What have you asked, my friend? Uh, where do you donate hair? I've used several different organizations over time, including Locks of Love. Um, but I can get you the name of the one that my stylist has used the last couple of times. I don't recall off the top of my head, but they do not. They're special because they don't request a monetary contribution to acquire the wig. I'm not going to say they. All I'm going to say is they don't charge for the wigs once they've put them together. It's part of the charity. So I'll get that for you though. That's why I moved away from Locks of Love because when I stopped with Locks of Love, it was because of the fact that they actually charged for their wigs, and I didn't think that was good. That's not very charitable to take my hair and then charge for it. So, um, but yeah, and thank you, Mark, for that. I'll try to find that name for you quickly in the next little bit. Uh, maybe by next Sunday or something. I don't know. I'll double check though. Access to the Oval Office and press briefings is a privilege, not a right. This is very true, Peach Fan Ann. True story. And I agree with you, Penny, that Gulf of America makes sense for both North and South America. Who, we could talk about the coastline if you want to. We could talk about um, a number of things, but I think America is fair. It didn't say government of the Gulf of the United States, did it? First, we need to determine the pronouns of the Gulf of Mexico. There you go. Compelled speech. You have to identify the Gulf of Mexico by their pronouns. There you go. Nick the Greek is here. Good to see you. An American Express card is a privilege too. Well, any access to credit, I guess, these days. And now that we find out that your social security number can be used by any number of people and not just you, that was fun to find out. It's not just a form of identity theft at this point. Could they possibly say and maintain a credit record since they're not supposed to use that number for anything other than social security payments and tracking? They've been using it for credit forever. How could they possibly do that? How could they possibly say that it's legitimate? And I have a feeling that the credit card companies are not going to enjoy what the answer to that is. Hey, Aurora Uplinks is in the house. Good to see you. We got a lovely gifty from our good friend Bad News Badger for Fitty Danish Krona, which says, Skipper, should we tell them about the insanity of all the craziness? Nah, just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. Oh, what a great line. Thank you for that, Bad News Badger. Radio Drago for £5 sterling. That's proper money. Says, what's wrong with renaming it after the continent? Surly or surely there's more inclusive and they like that kind of stuff. Well, yeah. Mexico does not doesn't own that solely. Interesting. I like that. Gulf of America. There's a lot of America. There's North America and South America. There's a whole lot of America. It's a good point. Oh, Six asks, what's a lap child? Parents holding a child in their lap for the duration of a flight. That's a lap child. It's a terrible practice. Nobody will argue that, but it's been done forever and ever. It's a way to utilize the space on the plane that they can't utilize. That's a lap child. Renaming Panama Canal the Van Halen Canal. That sounds great, Todd. I'm all for that. I think we should do that. We built it. We didn't have to name it the Panama Canal. We don't have to leave it named the Panama Canal. Panama's already violated the treaty 3 ways to Sunday for a while now and has punished the states. So I think the Van Halen Canal sounds good to me. Sorry. In any other country in the world, you would have whatever that country's exceptionalism. Here in the States, we have American exceptionalism, but our intellectual wackadoodles seem to think that that's a problem. Not me. Yeah, see, Mark, that's what I'm saying is they turned out not to be the best. But I love, like I said, I love doing what I do with the donation of hair. So as long as I can keep growing hair at a reasonable rate, I'm starting to get older, so it starts to slow down a little bit. Usually, 1 year is long enough to get, somewhere between a foot and 18 inches. That doesn't seem to be the way anymore. It's like 18 months minimum now. So yeah. Yeah. Chad St. John. Hello, hello. Chef Eddie says, "Hey, I had to pay for a tour to see the Oval Office. It's not right." You're right. Just say I'm press. Freedom of the press. I'm gonna walk into this Oval Room over here. Watch how watch how the Secret Service that tackles you to the ground. Uh, you guys are on fire today. How did the Gulf of America get to be such a hot subject? Let's see. When I was in the Marines, my SSN was part of my address. My mom posted my address in the local paper during Desert Storm so that people could write me. Back then, it was not used for credit. What is one of the most common identifying marks they use for you to get credit, or basically anything? Believe it or not, it's your SSN, and it's how people steal your identity, or used to be. Now they just ask one of their friendly dark web friends to get it for you, get it for them, I should say. So yeah. Oh wait, in other news, a Katy, Texas man has been arrested after making bad guy threats against. Um, yes, I saw that Joe Rogan was under threat. I think the Quartering actually reported that as well. Crazy stuff. That was a little while ago, though. I want the Van Halen canal. I really do. Mr. Redborn says Europeans now crying about having to defend ourselves, but still banging war drums on Ukraine. Insane-a-thon. Yeah, Mr. Reborn, excuse me. I'm going to say this. I'm like, you can be a war hawk when it's somebody else's equipment, money, and kids. Ukraine will never be the same. It's going to take them a very long time to recover from this. Russia's got the same problem. There's a population issue when it comes down to these types of activities. There's only so many military age men you can sacrifice on the altar of war, and with the lack of trust between men and females, men and women, excuse me, at an all-time high. Uh, and relationships tanking and nobody wanting to date and free love everywhere, which is a terrible idea. Thank you, 70s, late 60s, early 70s. You end up with not the best possible circumstance. Oh, Weatherman, it's good to see you. I'm sorry you have a terrible migraine. Believe me, I understand those. And thank you, Mr. Reborn. How cute would a baby parachute be? Six. Ah. Hey, Nodik says, Culture, what? This is my lap child, flight attendant. Sir, that's a bear. There you go. JPS is in the house. Good to see you. Yeah. Let's see who's out there. Radio Drago says, only 30 minutes and I'm free from the shackles of employment for at least a few days. Awesome. Welcome to the weekend. I'm scrolling. Boy, this I didn't realize would be a touch button. Did not realize. Don't touch that. Ouch. It's hot. Chef Eddie. Chef Eddie says, Europe won't pay 2% for NATO, but now they will pay 100% for Ukraine. Math is not their strong suit. Well, math hasn't been mathing for a while, which is why when we get all these revelations of all of this USAID and other things, mechanisms from the Department of Defense, boy, we are just beginning to dive into the corruption in all of our agencies. We are surprised. $4.7 trillion in Medicare and Medicaid. Phew. We got big problems, kids. You want to know where all of our money goes? Not to us. A lot of retirements coming, according to one representative in Congress right now. True story. And I'm with you, Sam. I think we call the Panama Canal the Love Canal. That'd be a good time. Comics Dad. Hey, CultureCasino. Just lurking from the car. Be good, man. I try, my friend. I try. And thank you, Comics Dad. Cosmin Cristani says, good morning, Culture. Good morning. Matt G is here. You have to say hi to Matt G when you see Matt G. Acknowledge the Matt G. You always have to acknowledge the Matt G. And just say thank you to all the support we've had so far. I love it when Bad News Badger rolls in with something funny. You guys are great. Thank you for all the gifts this morning and for the super chats. We are not anywhere close to done, but we do have to thank Weatherman for the gifty over there on the green machine. And welcome to the new member, which I think was Caveat Ties. Wow, Caveat Ties. Good to see you. All right. I don't have a problem with people for or against Ukraine. I don't either. My problem is faulty arguments people use as arguments for their stance. Well, it's because that's what they've been peddled or sold or fed. This is the problem I have with the mainstream media as a whole. Again, when you're growing up, or at least when you were my age and you were taught about civics and things like that, you also talked about the press and the freedom of the press and why it was so important and why it was incredibly important for them to remain impartial and just give you the facts and information. Of course, you could paint a picture at the same time. News has always been very good at doing that. The problem is that picture is set to feed just one side of things, making it slanted. Yellow journalism. Headlines are are basically the things most people read these days. One of the reasons that I started the 6 Minute Daily every day was so I could read the headlines and break them down rapidly to give a little bit of light what was actually underneath the headline. Because believe it or not, most people don't read past the first or second paragraph of any given article if they make it that far. Otherwise, it's a headline. The headline's the most important thing. Just like the thumbnail on a YouTube video or Rumble video or wherever you're publishing your videos is very important. You have the thumbnail to convey some sense of what you're talking about, sometimes in a very extravagant or over-the-top way. And you want your title, headline, whatever your banner happens to be enticing. Some of the words that are used are a little flamboyant. They're a little on the excessive side. They're sometimes shocking. Why? Because you have to make an impression with that to get people interested in what you're talking about. You can use a headline style of title for your video. It's the same thing in newspaper. It's just video. This particular kind of format has just been what it has been. Today, in images, I titled this "The Trump Effect." Pretty obvious. We've talked about a lot of stories, even from the entertainment press, that's about Trump or having to do with Trump or what Trump does or does not do or whatever it happens to be. But wherever he heads, everybody talks about. The thing is Trump at this point in his second term has realized after a break, a forced break, we can get into that another day, and 4 years of lawfare, he's moving at a pace faster than news and faster than any of the adversaries can react to him. And I call them adversaries because they're no longer colleagues in politics. They're no longer fellow anything, because politics is not just a combat sport anymore. It's one that with which you take no prisoners, apparently. The level of civility is gone. So that's why things are being done the way they are. But back to the headlines. It says most people don't read beyond the headlines. I mean, that's where we're at. I'm not sure anybody could argue with that. It's just the way the world works. The world works in a given way. We may not like it. We may not shout it out. We may not be excited about it, but that's how the world works. And until we can return the world to a level of sanity where everybody has a pretty complete understanding of the world around them and isn't trying to interject the idea that I have to acknowledge everybody by whatever they want to be called. Do you know what's safe? Call them their name. If you want to be known as Monkey Jeebus, I call you Monkey Jeebus. Matt G wants to be known as some kind of Taylor Swift. I'm still going to call him Matt G, but I'll probably say the name at least once. Right? On here, I'm known as CultureCasino. Pretty easy to get my attention to call me CultureCasino, or CC. All of those work. Sometimes Cuddles. But and that's the point. It's just like you can acknowledge anybody the way that they would like, but don't force me to say any given thing around somebody. That's compelled speech. Free speech is my choice. What I say is my choice. Regardless, back to the headlines. So when I see a headline from Variety saying AP sues Trump White House officials over Gulf of America ban on news organization, that conveys pretty much what the story is about. Believe it or not, with not very much slant, which I commend Variety for, because Penske Media is not necessarily known for their nonpartisanism. I don't even know if that's a word. Nonpartisan stance. There we go. Or take, opinion, whatever. But I do have some entertainment news I do want to get to, and I think that we would all benefit from. Let me grab a couple more supers here from our friend Butterbiscuit, who says there was an emergency meeting last night with union and shop reps, so it's not all public yet. The Postmaster General resigned this past week, 5 years into his 10-year plan, so something is going on. Well, I think it's interesting. I'll put it that way. I think it's interesting. And the question is, well, Nancy Pelosi and her husband somehow benefit from that because you have to consider just how much money Nancy Pelosi's husband is made on things like postal trucks and things like that. So look into it. Everybody wonders, where does all your money come from? Under the table deals. The Postal Service vehicles was one of them for the Pelosi's. I can go on, but just kind of fun to get into. So this is interesting news, Butterbiscuit, and thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. I really do. The more I know, the more informed my opinion can be, and I like that. Mopogos. I think I said that right. I just don't think American taxpayers should pay for Ukraine's government employees' retirement. Oh, I agree with you. I don't think we should be paying for any of this mess. There's no arguments there, my friend. Dean, I want to say thanks to you and yours, your entire family, for your military service. And you are correct. You owe the world nothing, my friend. Being willing to give the last full measure to something should relieve you from many duties. Truly. And I think military service maybe should relieve you from taxes the rest of your life. Consider that we would have overflowing civil servants. Mark, what's up, buddy? Says, CC, that's just it. That's just it. We were the last generation that were taught that stuff. We have 2 generations of people after us who went to school and got indoctrination instead of education. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm 100%. You and I are simpatico, well aligned on this stuff. And yeah, that's true. I mean, most people They didn't even get Schoolhouse Rock, the last generation, I don't think. I'm just a bill. Yeah, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. No, didn't get that. Right? Which means another gifty from Weatherman. That's right. Two more gifted memberships. Thank you for that very, very much. Weatherman. Weatherman suggests we just call it the American channel. I think that's a good idea. Let's see. Chef Eddie. Good to see. I can't believe Chef's here. I'm so excited. I think they need to reopen the Blandensburg's dueling ground. Blandensburg. There we go. Blandensburg dueling grounds. There. I've said it properly at least once. That is where Congress used to settle their disputes. Man, I don't think Mitch would have a chance, though. I think Mitch would have a rough go. 6 would like to be called Your Highness. Okay. Fair enough. A Mexican Iron Man for 5 Culture Casino clams is going to come at me some way. Hey, Culture, did you see an announcement on Trump's new SBA director? Bring up the announcement on screen and you'll see. Oh, okay, let me look at it. Small business. Small business administration. I can't type today. News. Not now. Senate confirms Kelly Loeffler to lead Small Business Administration. Is that it? Kelly Loeffler issues statement. Hang on. Loeffler sworn. Hang on. I'm getting a call. Oh, it's a spam. I'm looking this up, Mikey. I'm looking this up. Okay, I will see why she's amazing. Okay, I'm going to bring it up, Mikey. Hang on just a minute. We were going to dump into a Spider-Man story, but let's take a look at this. Boom. All right, let's jump over. Take a look. It says Washington, former U.S. Senator Kelly Loeffler issued the following statement after she was sworn in to serve the 28th administrator of the Small Business Association. I'm grateful to President Trump for entrusting me with the privilege and responsibility of serving America's 34 million small businesses who are the backbone of our nation's economy. For 4 years, Main Street has borne the burden of inflation, unaccountable bureaucracy, excessive regulation, and unchecked fraud, waste, and abuse. It is a new day at the SBA as we begin immediate work to restore the agency to its founding mission of growing small businesses, fueling free enterprise, and driving economic resilience. There is no greater honor than to work with the President Trump to advance the America First agenda by empowering our entrepreneurs with a focus on Main Street, Made in America, and accountability. The SBA will help unleash a new golden era for job creators and the communities that rely on them. SBA Administrator Loeffler was sworn in. If that was it, that is a strong statement. And I hope that's true, Mikey. I hope she follows through. I have no reason to believe that she wouldn't. I have no reason to believe that she wouldn't. There's the statement right there in a news release on February 20th. Amazing stuff. There is no greater honor than to work with President Trump to advance the America First agenda by empowering our entrepreneurs. With the focus on Main Street, Made in America, and accountability, the SBA will help unleash a new golden area for job creators and communities that rely on them. You need to do substantial changes to the tax code then. Thank you, Mikey. I appreciate it. Cosmin Cristani says Trump is bringing transparency to the people of America. Yeah, you notice that there's no filter when they find something with Doge or in one of the other entities that have been robbing you blind for your entire lifetime. There you go. And Weatherman said the thing that I don't think a lot of people realize: the funding mechanisms for NGOs were us, apparently. We were paying for all of this garbage. We were paying political PACs for this garbage. We were giving money to people like Stacey Abrams for this garbage. This is just crazy. The Tipping Barn asks for 2 Culture Casino cash. Can I call you CC Wayans? I'm sure. I'll probably just answer to CC. Chief Eddie, I mean Chef Eddie, of course, he says Pelosi gets additional salary as an environmental consultant for HHS as well as Congress. I don't think that'll happen very much longer if it still is. So there's that. Yeah. I'm scrolling. Hey, Angela Richter is here with her lovely Sumatran Tiger gifts, a Culture Casino membership. Thank you, dear. Much appreciated. And I got a few more from our good friend Butter Biscuit, which we'll pop into real quickly. Edward Hyde never liked the next generation? Wow. Strong statement. Let's see. Okay. Nothing is surprising, CC. Biden gave a $90 billion contract to a defense company for an electric vehicle, which less than 100 got made. Was that Pelosi? All of the PO's money goes to the Treasury. That seems, yeah, it's a big problem. I mean, I think some of the reason that the Postal Service has not had the improvements it's looking for is because it's not been properly funded, but that's a whole other conversation. I mean, we underwrite our mail service. Mark Dolly wants us to go. I'm going to say it properly. Mark Daly wants us to call the ladies Bondi, Gnome, Tulsi, and now obviously Leffler, Donnie's Angels. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Good morning, Angels. There you go. Spider-Man, Jamaican. There you go. Oh, I need to show her pic. It's not in the press release, dude. You said go find the release. She wasn't she a senator? All right. Mikey asks. Mikey usually gets. Let's take a look at it. Mike just has the hots for these powerful ladies. That's all it is. There you go. Senate confirms Kelly Loeffler, former Georgia senator. There she is. Yeah. One of Donnie's angels, right? I love you, Mikey. Love you a lot. Uh But a biscuit for another. Culture Casino Cash says if the post office goes down, I hope Doge exposes all the congressmen get exposed for taking our money while us mailmen have been in a contract dispute for over 3 years. Yeah, I know. I just one of my friends retired from the postal service and they're doing pretty well. Of course, they enjoyed their time, but they always were like, we're underpaid. We're always fighting for the next dollar. It was always that part of the conversation. So, man, that's crazy. Oh my. Mikey says, Graber, culture is that dude, that married guy you take to the gentleman's club that never sees the attractive ladies uh, performing acrobatics. LOL. Culture. Wait. LOL. Culture found her announcement and not her pick. Yeah, I'm a professional, Mike. And 6 is correct. I only have eyes for culture boss. That's right. What's the deal here? Uh, come on, John. I got to meet John in person. That was so glorious, man. It's cool to meet you in Florida, dude. So cool. And Chef, of course, digs the fork in, saying, "I hope that one day you get your dividend payment from Disney." Oh, Chef is ruthless. Wabam! All right, sorry. It's easy to be distracted. You guys are so brilliant. And yes, Wackle Cackle, amongst other things, taking money from the Gates Foundation. They also did find their a few USAID dollars in their pockets. Let's say. Pinochet's helicopter tours for 2 Culture Casino Cash. Thank you for that. Um, I think Mikey was angling to show Kelly's picture. Yes, I caught on. Except to me, it was more important what she said. And 11 Alpha points out a fact everybody should know, that the USPS, the US Mint, and the Bureau of Printing and Engraving were meant to be self funded, but have all had difficulties. I wonder why. Because they're being pillaged. That's probably why. Hey, Lucius Nature Triste is in the house. Good to see you. We do have the best chat on YouTube. That's true. We also have the best chat over on Rumble with my friends over there. And obviously, X. Hello, folks. You can say things from X, by the way. It works. I'm scrolling now. Trying to catch up with everybody. I got a member chat that I don't see from somebody that I can't wait to talk, say thank you to. Hang on. Man, I don't know how I missed that. Let's see if I can find it here. Sean. Here we go. With 20 months of service. Thank you, Sean MNT. Says, second coming of Elliot Ness. Good, bad, thoughts? I think it's good. I mean, that was what a great story. What a great story. Thank you, Sean MNT. All right, let's get back to the chatty chat. The chat as a whole. The whole chat and nothing but the chat. So help me, culture. All right. All right, let's jump into the next story after I went spelunking for things for Mikey. That's what the show should be called, Spelunking for Things for Mikey. I'm going to rename it right now. We went and looked at the SBA thing. I got criticized for looking at the SBA thing. And yeah. Let's talk Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's a great superhero. Basically the face of Marvel for nearly its entire existence, if I remember correctly. So let's jump on it. So apparently they're moving Spider-Man from their original planned spot. The new Tom Holland Spider-Man is going a week later in July of 2026. That's provided they get it going. They moved it back on the calendar. So it's going to be going a week later on July 31st instead of the 24th. So at the end of July, beginning of August, the last Friday of July, which is essentially where the Deadpool Wolverine played, opening to a giant domestic number. They think at the dead of summer, they'll be able to get a bigger audience, which is probably true. There's something else, though. Spidey, on its old date, was going in the immediate wake of Christopher Nolan's new The Odyssey, which would be going on July 17th. It's going to basically give it another week window separation. And that'd do pretty good. On its new date, it's also 2 weeks from that. And now it's going up against Paw Patrol 3, which means there won't be a lot of little ones underfoot, which is probably good. Decent counter programming. So yeah, and that means that Nolan will have obviously conquered much of the premium large format screens and IMAX screens out there, but they'll be able to pick up many of those after the second week of the Odyssey's run. That's kind of smart. And again, Disney's been and Sony, in conjunction with the Marvel production they jointly do, probably needed to find a little bit more room so this thing could make a lot more money. And this may expose Creighton as maybe not the director they pretended him to be from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which lost money at $432.2 million. Somehow that movie owns the biggest opening for Labor Day weekend at 94.6 million, which still boggles the mind. You put anything else up there that's decent, it's going to crush that number. Anyway, there's that. Thought that would be interesting. Just an announcement that they're going to move. They're going to move the show for good reason. Weatherman says for $1 over on the Green Machine, we need Mexican Iron Man jumping out of a window emoji here on the Green Machine Culture Casino. All right. I tell you what, I'll spend Sunday trying to get the dancing bear emoji over on Rumble, and I will try to get a Mikey jumping out a window emoji because I know Mikey loves that. It's Spider-Man. Why does everybody have a problem with that? Who else is out there? So this is Weatherman's request. I will look to fulfill that, barring a injunction from Mexican Iron Man. Thank you, Linda, for being here. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope you have a very happy birthday, dear. Let's see. Eggs will eventually stabilize. Yes, we just have to not kill 100 million chickens. That was just a jerk move to do on your way out the door. And I can't wait for somebody to tell the truth about all of these things that seem to magically show up. And by the way, the country folks have plenty of eggs. There's no lies there. What do you call that? The farmers markets. All right, I found a story I do want to talk about. We're going to get to a couple of the others that we have to get to, but this one I think is important. We're going to take a look at what our friend Butter Biscuit has been talking about and what the postmaster or somebody affiliated with the postal masters in general may have been talking about to the federal employees that work for our postal service, our quote unquote male men and male women. Let's take a look at it. So, Trump says he may take control of the U.S. Postal Service. Here's what to know. This is according to, obviously, the AP, which, again, I'm going to be shedding, but I'm going to tell you right now, Reuters is not a better choice. So, we're going to be looking for a news organization. Maybe I just start filtering everything through Ground News. We'll see. Maybe I can get them to sponsor me. Would you guys like to check out Ground News? Anyway, this is from Mary Claire Dale. Why does it always sound like they have made up names now? Mary Claire Dale. Philadelphia. President Donald Trump said on Friday that he might put the U.S. Postal Service under the control of the Commerce Department. All right. In what would be an executive branch takeover of the agency. Actually, it's already under the executive branch. How would it be a takeover of the? Somebody explain that to me sometime. They're saying it operated they're saying it's operated as an independent entity since 1970. Not very independent. They're taking your tax money to run it. That's not true. We want to have the post office works well and doesn't lose massive amounts of money. We're thinking about doing that, and it'd be a form of a merger, but it'll remain the postal service, and I think it'll operate better. Trump made the remarks at the swearing in of Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who would probably be able to do this rather easily. He called the move a way to stop losses at the $78 billion a year agency. Whoo! Which has struggled to balance the books and with the decline of first-class mail. Oh. He's got a great business instinct, which is, see, what I never could understand about this is the fact that the Postal Service has an army of planes and other things, and semi-trucks and amazing vehicles that the Postal Service folks drive every day, which I'm still in awe of. The fact that those things can run hundreds of thousands of miles just a few feet at a time over their lifetime. I'm still like, how do these things do this? Start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. Anyway, I always thought that maybe the post service could be best served to deliver like packages. Like, I don't understand how we didn't have a public version of UPS. And I mean, I understand that they do those things, but I just don't understand why they didn't dominate. You know what I mean? Especially with a government subsidy. Would have made perfect sense. And yet, DHL and all these other entities, Federal Express, arose for some reason. That never made sense to me. Anyway, he's got great instinct, which is what we need, and we're looking at it, and we think we can turn it around. Trump said of Lutnick, it's just a tremendous loser for this country, tremendous amounts of money that they've lost. Well, they certainly haven't put it in the pockets of the mail carriers. So anyway, what's the history of the USPS? Apparently, it was created during the Second Continental Congress in 1775. In 1872, Congress named it an executive branch department, of course, which meant it's under the control. By the way, the executive in this country right now, just for those of you that didn't know, is President Trump. He is the leader of the executive branch, the president, the head of the executive. He can pretty much do as he pleases with anything under the executive, the executor of things that need to be done. Back to it. But that changed after an 8-day postal strike over wages and benefits in 1970, when President Richard Nixon signed the Postal Reorganization Act, which made it an independent, self-financing agency called the U.S. Postal Service. It's never been any of that. So, decent chance it just gets re-rolled in. So today, and Butter Biscuit's one of these 640,000 workers, are tasked with delivering mail, medicine, election ballots, and packages across the country. So the postmaster, General Louis DeJoy, a Republican donor who owned a logistics business, was appointed to lead the U.S. Postal Service during Trump's first term in 2020. He announced a 10-year turnaround plan last year, but earlier this week said he plans to step down and asked the Postal Service Board of Governors to begin looking for his successor. So he just got done. And probably Trump told him, look, we're going to privatize this, or excuse me, we're going to bring this into the executive again. So since the 1970 reorganization, the U.S. Postal Service has been largely self-funded. The bulk of its annual $78.5 billion budget comes from customer fees, according to the Congressional Research Service. About $50 million in fiscal year 2023 came from an appropriation from Congress to subsidize free and reduced cost mail services. I'm wondering where that $87 billion goes. The accumulated losses are from 2007 to 2020 were $87 billion. I don't know where that came from. I like this fact-laden article, though. This is unusual for the AP. Perhaps this is a real person, this Mary Claire Dale. Fantastic. It's a wonderful thing if it is. I don't know. It's pretty interesting. I know I got some supers to get to, but I don't know. I'm trying to catch back up with where we were. 16 minutes ago, 14 minutes ago. How far back am I? Edward Hyde is putting jokes all over the place. I can't wait for Craven the Hunter to get a sequel. I don't think that's going to happen. Weatherman, says Frodala. Well, wait. Nope, I got that one. I'm way behind. Six, what are you talking about? Who are you agreeing with? What's going on? I missed out. Is there a bear dog emoji? There used to be. I don't remember. Reuters is more so. Thomson Reuters is definitely very, very corrupt, but that's a whole other conversation. My local's farmer's market is a lie. They don't grow no bananas and pineapples in DC. No, they really don't, Chef Eddie. Actually, I have a pineapple growing outside of the greenhouse right now. I should have had more. There were 3, and only one of them took this time. So we'll get another one in the ground. Hey, Clifflix is here. What's up, buddy? Check out Clifflix's channel. Says for 5 Culture Casino cash, Bear Dog loves me indeed, and I love Bear Dog. Did he really have blue eyes like in the chips? As he got older, they got more pronounced, probably because of the cataracts. But yeah, he had very very striking eyes. But those I think the reason they're so pronounced is probably because of the cataracts. So, but yeah, he's amazing. And I think they actually just became bluer over time because of the cataracts. Because again, he was amazing. He was a weird dog. Very cool. Black eyes, blue eyes, very strange. I've got some other pictures of him. I'll have to dig out some bear dog stuff here. It's hard for me because I miss him so much. So, but I've been thinking about a new pet. We'll see. We'll see. Remember when they remade Clash of the Titans? Horrible film. I do remember that. And Mephisto's movie reviews is coming up a little bit later after our friends at Salty Nerd Podcast, which is just 45 minutes away. For 15 shekels, says, reminder, after Salty Nerd, join me on the Real McCoy podcast as we cover Zemeckis' most famous movie, Back to the Future. We may have Tom Connors too. Awesome. Tom is an authority on that film. He knows much. I need to cough for a second. Hang on. Thought I could chase that down with some coffee, but didn't want to go. Our good friend, Judicon. What's going on, Judicon? Says the post office lost a great opportunity to get into the mail business back in the day. Oh, you are funny. All right. Yeah, egg prices aren't going to go down until April, till the earliest. Takes 21 days to hatch a chicken, and half of those will be males. I hope not. Then it takes 3 to 4 months for them to start laying. It's true. We'll get caught up. It'll happen. Yeah, Phil says so. It should be back under the control of the executive branch. I agree with you, Phil. I do. Our good friend Pinochet's Helicopter Tours for $5 with a Rumble rant says DARPA paid Reuters $9 million to perform, and I quote, large-scale social engineering and deception. Yes, they did that. They are just as compromised as the AP. We cannot let up on these facts or allow reputation repair, and I agree with you. 100%. And I want to say thank you to the Weatherman for another gifted Culture Casino membership to Pinochet's Helicopter Tours. Thank you for that. Hey, Mark's here. What's up? DHL, I believe, started as Sweden's postal agency. It was too expensive to pay for, so they privatized it. Well, there you go. Ram Bam 3000 says you could put together a good Mars mission for $87 billion. I imagine you probably could. Maybe more. Maybe a few of them. Hey, Eric K's here. Holy cow. Yeah, I think we'll have a shift in the postal service. I just hope it's in for the positive. I hope it's good for my friend like Butter Biscuit. Hope it's a good thing. I truly do. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I think there was a bear dog emoji, folks. I'll see if I can track it down. If it's not out there already. Or used to be. C7042 says, I spent 17 months in the Vietnam War long ago. I wrote a lot, but no one wrote me. I had to spend $20 with Western Union for a 3-minute phone call just to find out my family was still there 55 years ago. That's insane. Sorry about that. I'm sorry that your mail may have been lost. 6 says, why are you growing pineapple, Culture? Because they're delicious. And I think it's good to be able to grow everything and to have experience growing everything in case, you have to be the only grower of your own food. Wouldn't a slice of pineapple be dessertful? Plus, I know what's going into it as far as the soil composition, water, and everything. There's that. Hey, Morgan King's in the house. Good to see you. Rob Altus gifts 5 Culture Casino cash, or excuse me, 10 Culture Casino cash. My goodness, thank you. Rob says, culture in Taiwan, many use 7-Eleven and others to ship small packages. It's cheaper than using their postal service. There are many shipping companies there. Well, I bet, right? And they're basically bundling those shipping um, orders with other things that are being shipped internationally. So that makes perfect sense. Thank you, Rob. That's good to know, buddy. I gotta get across the sea and visit Asia. I gots to go. Pinochet's helicopter tours for another Culture Casino. Cash from the Rumble side says nothing wrong with humans learning to be self-efficient or egg efficient. It's true. It's true. I love it. Yeah, and I'm going out of my way now to try to navigate the news. So maybe if I can get a sponsorship from Ground News, I would consider um, not only promoting them, of course, because of the sponsorship, but also like utilizing them for the news stories. So that would be good because then you could always pick like the dead center stuff and not the twisted stuff, not the stuff with the the tainted news, tainted opinions, et cetera, et cetera. I thought that maybe the boss insisted on it. No, actually, um, first and foremost, if you've ever been to a pineapple plantation, they're amazing. If you get a chance to visit the Dole pineapple plantation on the Hawaiian Islands, it's amazing. Um, and then the story about how pineapples grow is also fascinating. You get about I think 4 seasons out of them, and then you have to just plant a new pineapple. So, and each of the pineapples have a different use through the plantation cycle. So, there's a lot to know about pineapples. For those of you who live in Hawaii, you know. But yeah, I will continue to just plant what I can. Wait till I get relocated, and I have tens of acreage. It will be a little different. Ah, Dean went and did an apple orchard. Oh, grapevines and berry bushes. Yeah, exactly. And doing that is important. Like if you have an acre that you could just spread out a small orchard on and then do a different set of plants on the next square, it's the way to go, folks. Build your own food forest. Let's see who else is out there. yeah, if we fumble our role on this asteroid in 7 years, there are going to be people that may be looking for pineapples and other things as well. Uh, we've got Rambam 3000 with 10 pounds sterling. You guys are making it impossible to move on to stories, and I love it. Saying there was a bare bones mission architecture called Mars Direct that would have cost only 25 billion, mind you. That was back in the late 90s. Check out the book by Robert Zubrin. Okay, I will. And thank you for that, Rambam 3000. And the 10 pounds sterling, which is proper money. Gotta love that. Lucius Nature Triste, a 4-month member of the channel, asks for me to show a portrait, show Bear Dog. I paint portraits. I will. I will have to find a really good picture of him that will show up well on the screen. The tiny little one isn't there, and I don't believe that on this computer I have pictures of him. I know it's really strange. I mean, I have the little video interrupt. Let's see if that's still on here. You know what? I could use a bear dog break is what I used to call that. Let's see if we can add that layer. Media file, bear dog. Yeah, I think I could do that. Anyway, there he was, and that didn't help you at all because I just realized it was just him walking with his red tennis shoes. That was after he had his stroke, and he used to wear 4 tennis shoes for a while, but they actually helped him keep his grip and learn how to rewalk again. So, um, yeah, I spent many nights on the floor getting him through that. That was crazy stuff. But anyway, I'll try to find a front facing picture for you. Uh, Istophobos, did you ever get my message showing the bear playing with the dogs? I believe so, Istophobos, or somebody else sent me it as well. That was extraordinary. Um, some animals just seem to get along until their lunch. Speaking of lunch, for 5 in a Rumble rant from our friend Pinochet's Helicopter Tours, he says, Ram Bam spot on. Zubrin's idea is brilliant. Use the moon as a hydrogen launch gas station. Yes, I agree with that. Pre-send, excuse me, this keeps jumping. Pre-send the gear to Mars on remote launch and send people to follow. Make hydrogen on Mars before arrival. Yes, that's what you do. Start making gas stations. Plus, we've got a different chemical mix of gases here on planet Earth that probably wouldn't be required in either of those other locations. So, yeah, I'm interested in getting us from here to there. Let's see. Mark says he wouldn't kick Zendaya out of bed for eating crackers. Some extra carbs would do her good. I think so as well. Lucius Nature Triste says, my Tucker died of a stroke a year ago. Still not over. Yeah, it takes a while. It's been a couple of years now since I had Bear Dog pass, so it's been rough. It's been rough. I'm not going to cover that story. Nobody would care. Here's something I care about. Maybe many of you do as well. It seems like, and again, this was in the picture that was on the front page, the thumbnail of this particular video. I'm more than a little annoyed with a particular country because it's basically been taken over by a very evil man who looks like Voldemort. A very, very evil man. In fact, it's this man. You see, this Brazil Supreme Court justice ordered the suspension of Rumble nationwide for alleged non-compliance with their authoritarianism and non-free speech, which kind of bothers me. Brazil used to be an incredibly wonderful country. It was on the rise, and we had a lot of tourists from Brazil on the regular. And I love the people in Brazil. I want you to be ruled fairly and evenly and not by this Voldemort-looking douche. Oh, by the way, you're a douche, Brazilian douchebag. So the president of the Supreme Court, Minister Andre de Moraes, arrived to preside over a trial of former Jair Bolsonaro, who should have been president And this guy is a scumbag. That's the image of this guy, anyway. So, Brazilian douche canoe ordered the suspension of video sharing platform Rumble in South America nation for allegedly refusing to comply with court orders. Oh no. Um, this douche gave Rumble 48 hours to name a legal representative in Brazil, but he received no answer so far. That's because he there's nobody in Brazil. Moraes said Rumble has repeatedly, consciously, and willfully not complied and is trying not to submit to Brazil's legal order and judiciary. You see how I said that? Judiciary? Yes. He added that one of the decisions that Rumble has ignored is to remove the account of Alan dos Santos, a fugitive of Brazilian law living in the United States since 2020 and a staunch supporter of the former president. There's no justice of the regularity of Rumble Inc.'s representation in Brazilian territory. Rumble said in a statement that faces unprecedented censorship in Brazil. And the action ordered by de Moraes comes in response to our refusal to censor political dissidents residing in the United States. The company said it was exploring all legal avenues to fight the action. I have some thoughts. Justice Moraes demanded that Rumble remove specific content and halt financial transactions related to individuals exercising their free speech rights under U.S. law. Well, you've immediately lost me. A lot of people have joined into a suit against this particular judge. I really hope that this guy finds his way out of his position through some legal processes. Anyway, there's that. Apparently, though, and one of the most important stories I think that we could probably get to is some changing over at what used to be NBC because they are breaking up. I think you guys all know that. We're seeing a shift in how news is being told and who's telling it. And obviously, Comcast is elected to get rid of its networks, which makes sense. I mean, they're a dying dinosaur anyway. Not sure anybody could argue with that. And when it comes to network television, NBC is kind of getting in front of all these other media companies and just ditching it outright. But when you have news organizations, you kind of have to maintain them. And Comcast won't be doing that. So MSNBC, NBC, all other operations have to form their own. So MSNBC is building up news operations in advance of split from Comcast. So Jen Psaki and the weekend hosts eyed for expanded roles. Hey, that's important. MSNBC is embarking on its first major steps toward building up a news gathering operation with plans to add a Washington bureau and domestic and international correspondence, with MSNBC being spun off from Comcast later this year. A lingering question has been how it will deal with the fact that NBC News will no longer be a sister network. MSNBC has depended on the broadcast network correspondence anchors, particularly during the daytime hours. Andrea Mitchell recently signed off from her early afternoon show, which had run since 2008, but is continuing on NBC News, the NBC News side, as chief Washington correspondent and chief foreign affairs correspondent. So, as you can see, they're kind of doling out roles now for what the future will look like. This is not the only one, but there are many, including shows like the Sunday Show, The Weekend, and many others that are going to have to be recasted for. And we're hopefully going to start to see how this could flesh out. The situation is dire for these news organizations, and the questions many, like will they be able to survive? I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think that these spun off networks like MSNBC, NBC, and these other quote unquote news organizations somehow find their way to continue to exist? Do you think Comcast will eventually spin NBC itself proper and NBC News off proper to another one of these types of entities? Or do you think they'll still keep that particular group in house? Because that's what we're talking about. The studios, broadcast television networks, things like that are related directly to Comcast, they're not going anywhere. It's all of the other things that are attached to them through MSNBC that they're going to have to recast for or they're going to have to rebrand. They're going to have to repopulate with people that are popular, et cetera, et cetera. MSNBC, will it survive externally? I don't know. But CNN is probably going to get spun out of Warner, I would imagine. There's no reason to hang on to it. It's a dying brand. And there's more of these, obviously. But my question is, are we going to see more and more of this? And can they survive? I'm interested in what you guys think. So let's uh, let's take a look at that. I'm trying to catch up with this. You guys were talking a lot. Rob Alta says MSNBC is no longer, if ever, a viable news source. Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're pretty garbagey. That's for sure. Um, the video I played was more than 2 years old. So Victor Fontaine sent me something that was 2 years old. Goodness, that's not good. Hmm. Well, it's easy enough to clip out of the video. Small Time Republic says it appears to be that there are consequences for the nonsense cable news puts out there. Well, I would say true. And I think Putin's cat is correct. I think we look to our backyard. Indeed. Mark says MSNBC, CNN can't survive on their own. Look at what happened when CNN started its only service last year. Yeah, the online service, I think, was a fouled mistake both times that they've tried it now. The previous version, which they immediately canceled and took a giant loss on, a few $100 million, if memory serves. I think that that came from the realization that the new leader at Warner realized that that was going to be a loser, and perhaps it will be. Perhaps this new service, perhaps the moves forward for both of these visible organizations are going to be a big problem. I guess we'll have to see in the future, though. Um, I don't imagine MSNBC can survive. I think that on their own they'll be able to have sponsorships and things like that, and perhaps that kind of news can survive for a short period of time. But as with all broadcast and cable products like that, they have to be financially viable, which means they have to have commercial television benefits like commercials that they can sell that make money to power the network. They have too many high paid people at MSNBC, and they have too many paid people at CNN. So that does not bode well for their survival. But this show has gone on for approximately 2 hours, and apparently I need to review. Uh, the element that was placed there during the course of the broadcast, and and make sure that it is culled. Apparently, if that is not timely. We are going to have to do some follow up news, so we will definitely be having a follow up show tomorrow, and I am looking forward to that. With a little bit of entertainment mixed in. Tomorrow's showtime is not going to be the normal late hour. It's going to be probably middle of the day, at least for the time being, going back to a more familiar schedule for many of you on Sundays. Later today, we'll be having a communities day, community celebration. So be sure that your notifications are turned on if you happen to be a channel member. We're going to have a member stream coming up shortly. On that note, I'll say this: I had a lot of fun today. You guys are amazing. And I love the chat. You guys were on fire. So, in that regard, coming up next in just a few minutes, about 12 minutes from now, will be the Salty Nerd Podcast with Matt and everybody over there. And immediately following will be our friend Mephisto's The Real McCoy, which is a great place to go. Definitely, if he gets Tom over there, they're going to be talking about Back to the Future, a film that Tom knows an awful lot about. On that note, for those of you across all the platforms that watch us here, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya for real.
CultureCasino, 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 oh, CultureCasino, 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 oh, CultureCasino.